Hi, Susan from Susan's Art and Junk Journaling. I've got this cookbook that I've taken apart, Stories and Recipes of the Great Depression of the 1930s. It had this wire spine on it. Both ends were bent when it was in place, so I opened that up. I cut this one off with my wire cutters, and then I just kept turning it until it came all the way out of the cookbook. And I've started making pages, and now that I've gotten my flow going, I'm going to show you how I've done it. Each page takes 5 pages, and so far I've used 90 pages making this, so it's a good way to use up a cookbook. Each page, ignore how I did the first one because I was still just kind of feeling my way of what I was doing. So the first 2 aren't quite what I wanted to do, but I'm going to include them. But each page, like I said, takes 5 pages. The end on each of these is an open pocket, like this. And this side has a pocket over here, and then when you turn the page, there's a pocket over here. When I make this journal, I'm going to make the spine over here on this end, so it's all going to be facing this direction. So now that I've got the routine, I'll show you how I made each one of these pages. I take 2, make sure they're all together, both are together. I take my ruler and I line it up at the edge of where the words are, and I fold up both pages. What I'm doing is I'm reinforcing these pockets here and gluing down the perforations, or the fenestrations, whatever you want to call these holes here. I fold it over, and then I just take my bone folder. I did that so quickly, I messed it up. And then I do the same thing on this one, but then I fold it back on itself so that this makes the right-hand side of one of these pages. Then I take a 3rd page and I fold it in half. And while I've got it in half, so it's like this, fold it over, I completely go around the perimeter. And then on these 2 pages, I take the back one and then I glue this to the back page, open it up. So now there's 2 pages, and this is to be glued down as well, and I just go along the crease with a little glue. Hold it there just for a second while it sets. And I glue this little fold as well, just to tad bit of glue right along that crease. Fold it over. Then I take the glue and just go along 3 sides, leaving this side open. And then I line these 2 up. Scoot it over a little bit. Down a little bit. It's okay if it doesn't line up. It's a junk journal, right? So then that makes this an entire pocket. So that's the right side. And then I take 2 more pages. Let me set those aside for right now. And I do the same thing I did with the first 2 pages. I line my ruler up. Fold these 2 edges up. Crease them good. Take them apart. Crease that good. Crease this good. And then the second one, fold it back on itself. Up and then along that fold again. Just put a little glue on that crease. Hold that for a second. And then I do the same on this one. So then these 2 will face each other. That's the back, this is the top. I'm going to do 3 sides again. And then where this line is, I will line up with this. Now I just need to put glue here and glue here. Feel free to rewind and watch that a couple of times if it doesn't make sense to you. But everything but the first 2 pages, this page and this page, the rest of them are all like this. So then you've got a pocket here once it dries, and then a pocket here once it dries. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 22 pages front and back. And that has used up 100 pages in this cookbook. So it definitely will gobble up some of that leftover, some of those book pages that you've been trying to get rid of, because each one of these takes 5. So I'm going to end the video here, and then the next time I do a video, I'm going to show how I'm going to encase this spine and how I'll do the cover, and then I'll decorate the inside. Thanks for watching. If you haven't, please subscribe. I'm going to show how I'm working on the spine and how I'm going to connect this signature. I took one of the pages. I folded it in half. Then I folded it again. And then approximately 1 inch from the end, I folded it. And then another inch from the end, I folded it. Then I took my ruler, and I'm using centimeters versus inches. And then I marked a dot 1 centimeter from the end, centimeter from the end, centimeter from the end. I've got hole punches. This is a large hole punch. I'm not using the large one. I'm using this hole punch that's considerably thinner. I don't know if you can see the difference between the two there. That's a nice small one. I punched a hole here and here and here, and that's what I'm going to use as the template. So I laid it this way. I took this template, set it on the edge, drew a circle, drew a circle, drew a circle. Then I will hole punch that out. Go to the next page. Make sure I've got lined it up. Draw a circle, draw a circle, draw a circle, and that's going to be where I'll hole punch that. And then I'll go through and do that to all of the pages. I've been working on my cover. I had a huge desk calendar that had a cardboard back. So I used that for the cover. And now I'm trying to decide exactly how I'm going to do the spine for this. I cut this 6 centimeters wide, and I had marked it here and here, and then I decided to score it wider, which was a mistake because it was too wide. So now I've made it narrower, and I will show you. See, it's giving this lots of room. I may like that, I may not like that. I'm not sure. I've never made a spine like this before. The way I'm going to make the hole for the spine, I'm going to use my hole punch. I think I'm just going to center this and then give a little leeway to the spine itself. I'm going to mark where the holes are. And I believe that this is going to be too thick to use my hole punch on, so I'll use my Menards center punch, where you just push on it and the spring action makes, let's see if that went all the way through. Oh, it did. But I can also just push that to finish it. On this side, make sure I've got it folded where it's supposed to be. Now I will put this back in. Give it a little bit of leeway again. Well, the tough part is making sure that I've got the holes lined up afterwards. but this is the first time I've made one of these, so it's a little trial and error. Go. Push these through just to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. There we go. So hopefully these lined up. Now I need to mark where I'm going to put the holes here. Line this up again. And I think I'm going to make this fit more this. Well, no, I think I'm going to line it up perfect. Yes, I think I will. Right to the lateral edge. These just a smidge bigger. And then the way that I'll line up other is just put them on top of each other. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I need to decide how I'm going to cover this. So I've got the front, the back, the spine. That'll line up like this. So I'm going to cover these and come back and show you what I decided to use. Here's the progress of the covers. There's the front. Covered it pink on the inside, blue on the back side, and this pattern on the very back. I'm going to show how I'm going to assemble it. So this is the front. I've got 3 brads. So I'm going to put the brad through. Turn it over. And while I'm thinking through this, I think I need to make a relief bend. Let me turn this over. This is the front. I'm going to just bend this. Let's see, how about I score it first with my bone folder. a relief bend in this. Going to hold it down right here and then fold up. There we go. Fold this up. And fold it the other direction too, so it's got flexibility. Let's see, how about I go this way with it. And I'll do this. No, I don't think I need to do the same to the back. So let me put the brads back in. See, this is all the first time I've ever done one of these, so I'm thinking through the process while I'm assembling it. Got the brads facing up. Now I've got the spine. I'm going to have the green facing inside. Make sure my holes are lining up properly. Let me see if it's, yep, this way. And since this is the front, we'll start putting all of the pages on. I will go through, assemble a book, and show you the finished product. I've taken the spine and I used my ruler, and then I just took my bone folder and creased it right there on one side, and then I did the same thing on this side, lined it up, made some creases with the bone folder, then I bent it for the spine. This is the top, that's the bottom, so top, and I put a T on here for top. And my measuring was way off when I was making these holes here. This center one was off. So I went ahead and just used the brad to poke through, but it's not going to be seen. So we'll put these pages back in. After I get all of these pages in and the book closed, I'll show you the result. This is what I've got so far. I'm going to measure it in inches first. So it's 9 inches tall by 10 inches wide, 23 centimeters tall, about 26 centimeters wide. If I were to do this again, I would make the cover thinner. I don't think using this thick cardboard was a good idea. It was too thick. If I were to glue 2 pages of single-faced scrapbook paper together, or use maybe a beer box or a soda box, you know, maybe that would be better. But this is definitely way too thick, having it sided with scrapbook paper here and scrapbook paper here. It's just too firm, and it's hard to get it to stay open. So this was one of the first pages that I had made, and I was still trying to figure out a prototype. This is definitely too thin to really put anything into, but you can. I mean, you can see I can get something into there and something into there. And then after making this prototype, I decided that I didn't like the pockets facing this way. And then this side is definitely too thin. You can't put anything in it. And then the pocket facing this way. Again, this pocket was way too thin. But I like how there's room here to put something pretty big in. So starting from here back, all of these pages are made the same, and they take, again, like I had mentioned earlier, 5 pages. So it's a good way to eat up books that you've got laying around and you want to just use pages. So I solely used that cookbook, and I used 100 pages in this. So from here back, I like how it's made. This pocket is a good size, and I only put a thumb notch on the top portion, so there's a good place to put a pocket in here. All of these are the same, and I think the reason why this appeals to me, I just came back from vacation, and I had a lot of pieces of paper that I really would have liked to have put into a lot of pockets. So to me, this would make a good travel journal. And I like the idea of something sticking out of this pocket, and I'll show you why. So when you saw me constructing this book, there's 2 pages here, 2 pages here, and then a page between the both. Well, this tends to act like a fold point. It's a weak point. So having something stick out of it like this will make it so that it's not a fold point. So keep that in mind. You know, definitely when you fill it, it's going to give it some rigidity. So I'll leave that there. And on the back side, this will be a good place to add, you know, some kind of blank paper here. I'm going to be decorating this and filling this. So this is just one of the first stages. So these all have pocket on this side, pocket on the end, pocket on this side. So each set of these pages has 3 pockets, every single one of them from here back. And I like that. So the next video I'll be doing, I'll be decorating this. I think it's a really good idea. Wonderful page eater. And I know a lot of us, you know, have lots of pages we need to use up. And I like the idea that each single one of these is made the same way. That does appeal to me. at least for this journal. And there we go. I hope you like this, and I hope you learned from my mistakes. And if you could, and if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I've had a little think about this journal, and I've decided to change the spine. That's not working for me. I had covered the back of the brads with a piece of paper, and I just tore that paper off. And what I'm going to do is completely take this apart. I think I'm gonna have to put some different brads in here because I've bent these enough times to where they're not gonna play nice anymore. So I'm gonna take this, just made it way too thick. I'm just completely taking that spine off. That was just overkill. And let me see if I can pinch these back together so that I can get the papers back on them. All right, so now let me see if I can just put this back on. There's that one. That one. That one. Just cover this area again with a different piece of paper. Come on, that brad is bending. Let's see if I can just keep this pinched. There we go. Pinched. Okay. There we go. That's much better. I like that much better. Okay, now I'll push that down. Separate those. See how that opens, if that opens any better. Yes. Take the folder and see if I can encourage this to bend a little better. There, now it stays open. I like that much better. Now, let me get a little piece of, here we go. Let's take just a little bit of this. Does not need to be this wide. Let's see, maybe let's do it about that wide. Okay, let me just along the edge here. glue this down. I've been using Aleene's Tacky Glue. I used to watch the Aleen show on TV decades ago. Gosh, at least 3 decades ago she used to be on. And then her daughters used to be on as well, making things. One of the things I really enjoyed watching them make were they'd take a slice of bread and they would break it into pieces, and they would take their glue and mix it with the bread, and they would make like faux porcelain flowers, kind of like Capodimonte. And it turned out really good because they would add paint in with the bread and the glue, and then they would take and roll little balls and flatten them out into petals. I don't know if any of you have ever remember watching any Aleen, or if you even know who she is. There we go. There, I like that. Let me scoot that over a little more. There we go. There. Now, don't you agree? That turned out much better. There we go. Then the next video is going to be me decorating this, and that's going to be fun. Thanks again for watching.